The idea behind Forged Battalion is an interesting one for someone like me, who finds the concept of adapting and customizing your real-time strategy units just how you like them intriguing. So it's time for an early impression of an early access game. So after 9 hours of playing the game, I have thoughts and somewhat of a miniature review to consider. Now I know full well that this review will be dated in time, but some of the things mentioned here will stay the same regardless, or maybe a little reminder of how the game was in version 0.133. So what are we looking at here? In short, it's a soft counter, somewhat accessible and fun real-time strategy that cuts out a lot of the fat but still has room for improvement going forwards, if not building blocks for a future expansion. Now, this make your own army idea is far from untouched, with the older Earth 2150 series of games able to adjust properties of units, and there's another one more recent called Uncrewed, where you're able to actually adapt every unit from harvester to hit and run speeder, maybe the main battle tanks, boats, gunships, seeing it built before your very eyes and having to manage it with more real physics, place the armaments on the unit almost like Meccano kit. It's a bit more in depth, maybe a little bit too much, but sorry, going a little bit off topic there, but hey, you know, that game was fun last time I touched it, and hey, if you enjoyed this, maybe you should check that one out as well. But anyway, so the idea is actually not new at all, but it is a fun hook and unique selling point to the game all the same. Now this seems like the engine used for Petroglyph's last games, the 8-bit Army series with hordes and invaders, which drops now the voxel graphics used in them for something a bit more general with a touch more bloom. It's far from breathtaking, but the look is clean and good enough. The gameplay is king with this one, and while there is a basic story, complete with bad voice acting and dubious lines used so far, there is a skirmish mode with multiplayer ranked and unranked modes in. I'm also impressed with the Steam Workshop support in the box from the very start, ideal for new maps, so that's a big thumbs up for me. Good work, crew. Now after starting up the game and beginning the first mission on the storyline, and learning the basics, I found and reminded myself of the 8-bit Army's mentality here still applies, with it being very blob heavy, meaning masses of units are often used in battles as opposed to just a handful of very select and unique units. After having fun in games on that mission, I was rewarded with some tech points to upgrade from the tech tree, which seemed to hold the keys for success. Then I tried the next mission. It started up okay, but I ended up losing from expanding too quickly. So I went to level up, almost like an RPG, in the skirmish mode. After getting more points, I went back to that mission only to get the ever-living kicked totally out of me. Great times. And thus I learned that in this game the computer army tech evolves in line with what you have. Not in the same way that it duplicates what you've got, but in line that it keeps up a challenge, which is actually quite a good thing really. However, I did end up having to grind for a bit until I had enough tech points to get some healing turrets, which helped keep the survivability of my troops alive so I could complete the mission. So having completed the mission, gained some new tech points, I took them, upgraded my army, and went straight into battle just to get my arse completely obliterated once again. And that's when I realised, honestly, at least at the very start of this game, there is going to have to be a grind to upgrade that tech to keep in line with what is thrown at you, otherwise you're probably going to struggle for a little while. So don't be expecting to go through the missions, at least on hard, first time without having to put some extra effort in. Now you can unlock what you need on the tech tree, and rather early at that too, but you need to read and ponder the use of your tech points carefully, otherwise you'll end up spending them poorly and end up being further behind than ever. And so with this, after that I went into skirmish leveling, trying new stuff and trying to get ahead until I reached the penultimate level. Even if the campaign only has 5 missions, they're quite enjoyable, even if they are very simple at the moment. They did the job. Often the key to success in this game revolves around using the different armour types and speeds of the different units, such as the cool looking walking mech man, the highly agile, good for strikes light vehicles, the heavy ordnance of the tanks, and the mobility and the flexibility of the flying gunship drones and the weapons that they have. And a fun range of weapons they are too, with all their pros and cons on display, from the area of effect flame weapons to rocket pods, artillery shells, sticky glue restricting movement blobs, to laser beams, all sorts in between as well. It's good stuff, though maybe a few more changes to set them apart, such as the weapon range or the rate of fire, could be considered going forward, but hey, not bad. There's another game mechanic with these expansion bases. They're only capturable with men, but fighting over them will give you benefits such as a closer base and access to more gold and a closer refinery. And as a result, this encourages to go out there and attack for these points rather than turtle up, and as a result you'll gain those extra resources, making it more likely to win the game. Another element is that in the tech tree you can assign a benefit for your base that you start with, something like extra power or maybe some stealth, possibly some self-repairing materials on the base itself. But sadly this is one of the few auxiliary extra options inside the game. So another thing the game has is it uses the multiple factories to increase the building speed of units, and at the moment it's locked at a ×3 build speed, which means that it is the upper limit and can't be sped up any faster, and as a result you're going to have to build multiple different types of units to achieve victory rather than bottleneck your production at just one type of unit. And not forgetting that there are hidden crates sprinkled all over the map in buildings at random places that contain these tech upgrades, an extremely valuable resource. They're found in single player and skirmish too, and good God are you going to be feeling it if you've missed any of these. Without knowing this, you may be adding hours of grind onto your game, so be forewarned. Also, the audio done by Frank Lepaki is on point as always. The man is a gem. Hearing those tunes always makes me think back to his past games when playing them. Yes, I always remember the music from Eye of the Beholder 2. But all in all, this is a reduced price RTS game where I believe the money has been well spent and making it what it is. I've enjoyed my time with it so far and hope to do so going forwards. It's been a good time. So what do I hope for going forwards? Well, maybe some more base extra building bonuses, maybe a stealther generator or income increaser, production increaser, maybe a shield generator, something unique that you could play. Something just a little bit more than a refinery, those power plants and factories and the odd super weapon, just to make it go that little bit stage further, methinks. Maybe a way to make your commander fit a role more often, so maybe go more full-on tank commander, and as a result limit the aircraft or the weapons that they can carry, and other units maybe have a percentage off, but your tanks would then have a buff to offset this, and it just gave you a little bit of something unique about your faction. Another one could be that instead of just starting with your base upgrades such as the extra power, why not make it interesting by having to buy it? Once you've upgraded to the tech building, you're given the option to then acquire it, but maybe even better yet would be from the list of unlocks that you've unlocked from the tech tree, so you'd be able to pick what you feel is going to be best for the situation going forward. Once you've picked it, that's it then, but it would make it more dynamic. While it didn't bother me quite as much as I was expecting, there is still a problem when having these adaptable units. I'm thinking of maybe doing some colour coordination with the weapons that you have. Maybe use that secondary colour that you've got on the model, so that, say, maybe rocket pods could all be green, red could be for any unit using fire, purple for plasma. You know, we've got a rainbow of colours, so why not use them? Not only is it more readable for the player, but for an opponent too. It becomes a a solution rather than a problem. And the last thing I'd maybe like to see included in the game is some form of veterancy. So the longer the units survive, the better they get. Maybe minor bonuses, but just something, if they were fighting one-on-one, the one with the veterancy would survive versus the normal unit. However, it's not all smiles and gunshots. There are a bunch of things that I noticed. I'm not sure if Petroglyph or Team 17 will ever see this list, but let's list some of the things that I've noticed here. Hopefully, they've all been patched out by now, but even if not, these are things that shouldn't have been overlooked before release, even if it's on early access. Naughty developers! And the thing is, I can only imagine how hard it is actually to make something like this, and all the time and effort that you have to put into making something like this, and all this effort and skills and things I wouldn't have a clue about, and I wish you all the very best and continued success, but I'm gonna moan about these small things, and I love you regardless. So you release the games with the audio levels on the sliders. They don't match and they don't work properly. Fix it. And would it kill you to add a little circle around these expansion nodes? Just showing you where your men can capture it. Look here, I'll sort you out. Just go round like this and there we go. So hey yo, if I pick the options for the number of AI, their difficulty, the army colours and the map in bloody skirmish mode, I want them saved so I can see them right next time. I'm so f***ing sick of resetting these options every time I have to go on skirmish. Old games used to do this, so why not now? Can't the games industry get their shit together on this? What? And what is with these dumb harvesters? God, they're all just sitting around waiting to harvest a single piece of gold. But there's about 8 other ones sitting there waiting to be gone at. And it's just because the code just said to just go to the closest one rather than just pick one which is close to a perimeter around a refinery. And you stop making me micromanage and do all this petty work. Sure, it's micromanagement and it's part of the game, but it's not fun micromanagement, is it? So get it sorted. And this isn't so much a gripe, but just more an observation. So hey yo, you've got the tech progress, and then maybe just have a reset button in the options, so for those mad generals out there who want to start all over again, they can do. It's an easy thing to implement, and it's something that'll stop people getting bored when they've reached the end. I mean, the hook of the game is advancing and upgrading after all. It would be sad if it was a one-time experience only. Just saying. And what is this? Touch up your AI in skirmish. I've had a few armies guarding the front of the base while I've gone round back and wiped them out, and even if I am a tactical genius, knowing that they're just sitting there rather than reacting about it is just shameful. And don't think that I didn't see this in 8-bit armies, you know. This has been a long time coming. Gold chunks, when they've been used up, all they end up doing is changing colour to a duller shade of gold rather than disappearing off the map. What's in there? Fool's gold? What are you jokers even playing at this point? And what even is this blind counter nonsense with anti-toxin flame or nuclear stuff that you can dab on your troops to stop them from having those effects? Nobody's going to commit to a tactic like that unless they see it's like a broken part of the meta. These are bad upgrades and you should feel bad too. And this attack move doesn't even change its cursor to show it's something different from a normal move. Do you like confusing the player, seeing their armies walk into battle without warning? You sick And these hotkeys, what is it with every single one of these Petroglyph games? They all have their strangest hotkeys. But at least you can change them. But this new, you've done the most mortal of sin here. You haven't actually added a sell or repair button to the bloody list, have you? You better add them soon, or I'm going to shoot the dog. Anyhow, minor little gripes and having fun aside, that is all for now. In the end, I make no regret in buying this game, at all, and I look forward to playing a hell of a lot more. Maybe my humble ideas could be used to make a better game. I'm looking at the dog right now. And if nothing else, well, maybe you've been able to see if this is your kind of jam. Infinite thanks for watching to this point in the video. If you enjoyed it, a thumbs up would be fabulous. And a subscription, well, it would mean the world to me. So, until the next video, I've been Sias from Feels Like 2 AM. Farewell.